Everybody is looking for the next big discovery, and this one will blow your mind. We're talking about a lost city, not just any lost city, but one that's been hidden beneath the waves for an incredible 140,000 years. Can you even wrap your head around that number? It's a timescale that dwarfs the pyramids, Stonehenge, almost everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. This isn't just rewriting a chapter of history, it's like finding a whole new volume we never even knew existed. The implications are staggering, potentially changing our understanding of our own ancient past and who we thought our ancestors were. This is the kind of find that explorers dream about, a true testament to the mysteries our planet still holds. Imagine for a moment a thriving city, bustling with life, art, and innovation, existing in an era so remote it's hard to fathom. Then, imagine it vanishing, swallowed by the relentless ocean, its secrets guarded by crushing pressure and darkness for millennia upon millennia. This is the story of Ethalgard, a name that will soon echo in history books and lecture halls around the world. The recent confirmation of its existence, deep in the cold, unforgiving waters of the North Atlantic, has sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. It's a testament to human ingenuity, both ancient and modern, that such a place could be built and then, after so long, found again. The challenges of even suspecting, let alone locating such an ancient underwater site are immense. We're not talking about a few scattered ruins just offshore. Ethalgard lies deep, in a region once thought to be barren, featureless seabed. The pressure at these depths is immense, capable of crushing most submarines like a tin can. The darkness is absolute, and the currents can be treacherous. For 140,000 years this city has slept, undisturbed by the passage of time, by wars, by the rise and fall of countless empires on the surface world above. It's a silent, submerged Pompeii, but unimaginably older, holding clues to a chapter of human existence we barely knew was possible. This discovery is more than just old stones and submerged structures. It's a gateway to understanding a forgotten epoch of humanity. Who were these people? How did they achieve such a level of sophistication so incredibly early in our timeline? What can their story teach us about resilience, adaptation, and perhaps the fragility of civilization itself? Join me as we delve into the incredible journey of how Ethalgard was found, what marvels it contains, and the profound questions it raises about our shared human story. The adventure is just beginning, and the secrets of Ethalgard are slowly, painstakingly coming to light. Every great discovery starts with a whisper, a hint, a breadcrumb that piques the curiosity of someone brave enough to follow it. The story of Ethalgard didn't begin with an X on a treasure map. Instead, it started with faint, almost imperceptible anomalies in deep-sea sonar data collected years ago during routine geological surveys. These weren't dramatic peaks or troughs, but subtle, almost geometric patterns that many dismissed as sensor ghosts or unusual rock formations. They were odd, out of place, but not enough to scream lost city. Not yet, anyway. These faint digital whispers were filed away, forgotten by most, but not by everyone. It took a maverick, a brilliant but often overlooked historical linguist named Dr. Alara Vance, to connect these digital ghosts with something far more tangible: incredibly ancient, fragmented oral traditions from isolated coastal communities in Ireland and Iceland. These tales, passed down for countless generations, spoke of ancestors from before the ice, who lived in a magnificent land that was swallowed by the sea. Most scholars dismissed these as mere myths, campfire stories, but Dr. Vance saw patterns, linguistic roots, and geographical descriptions that, when overlaid with those strange sonar anomalies, began to form a tantalizing, almost unbelievable hypothesis. Could these myths be echoes of a real, unimaginably ancient event? Dr. Vance spent years meticulously cross-referencing these folklore fragments with geological data on sea level changes and ancient coastlines. She knew that 140,000 years ago, during a warmer interglacial period, sea levels were significantly lower, exposing vast tracts of what is now continental shelf. Could a sophisticated culture have thrived on these now drowned lands? Her persistence was legendary, facing skepticism from many in the mainstream academic world, but the pieces started to fit too perfectly to ignore. The sonar blips, the ancient stories, the geological possibility, it all pointed to one remote, unexplored patch of the North Atlantic seabed. The final piece of the puzzle, before a full-blown expedition could be launched, was a reanalysis of that old sonar data using new, AI-driven algorithms. Dr. Vance, with a small, dedicated team and a shoestring budget, managed to secure processing time on a supercomputer. The AI, unburdened by preconceived notions, flagged the same area with even higher probability, identifying rectilinear patterns and unnatural right angles hidden within the noise. Suddenly the whispers became a shout. The evidence was still circumstantial, but it was compelling enough to convince funding bodies that something extraordinary might be waiting in the deep. The hunt for Ethalgard was on. Once the possibility of Ethalgard became too compelling to ignore, the next monumental task was assembling a team and the technology capable of reaching it. This wasn't a weekend dive trip. This was an expedition to one of the most inaccessible environments on Earth. Leading the charge on the operational side was veteran deep-sea explorer, Captain Eva Rostova, a woman whose calm demeanor belied a steely resolve forged in countless underwater missions. She knew that success and survival depended on having the best people and the most reliable, cutting-edge equipment. Failure wasn't an option when you're miles beneath the ocean surface. The research vessel chosen for this historic undertaking was the RV Odyssey, a state-of-the-art ship designed for deep ocean exploration. Think of it as a floating university and advanced laboratory combined. It boasted dynamic positioning systems to hold steady over the target site, a moon pool for launching and recovering submersibles, and labs packed with scientific instruments. On board, Captain Rostova gathered a multidisciplinary team: marine archaeologists, geologists, engineers, robotics experts, and of course, Dr. Vance, whose theories had brought them all to this point. Each member was a leader in their field, ready to pool their expertise for this unprecedented quest. The real stars of the initial search before any human could lay eyes on the potential site were the autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs. These torpedo-shaped robots, like Pathfinder and Seeker, were programmed to meticulously scan the designated area of the seabed. They employed advanced side-scan sonar and multi-beam echo sounders, capable of painting an incredibly detailed three-dimensional map of the ocean floor, far more precise than the initial surveys. These AUVs could operate for days on end, tirelessly mapping square kilometer after square kilometer, sending back torrents of data that the team on the Odyssey would analyze around the clock, searching for the telltale signs of human construction. Alongside the AUVs, the team had a suite of remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, ready for deployment. Unlike the autonomous AUVs, these ROVs, such as the heavy lifter Titan and the nimble Sprite, were tethered to the Odyssey and piloted in real time by skilled operators. Equipped with powerful lights, high-definition cameras, robotic arms for sample collection, and an array of sensors, these ROVs would be the first to provide visual confirmation if the AUVs found something promising. The anticipation on board the Odyssey was electric. Years of research and preparation were about to be put to the ultimate test in the crushing depths below. The days and nights aboard the RV Odyssey blurred into a cycle of anticipation and analysis. The AUVs, Pathfinder and Seeker, diligently combed the deep, their sonar pulses painting an ever-clearer picture of the abyssal plain below. Dr. Vance and the geology team were glued to their monitors, watching as the digital landscape slowly revealed itself. They saw canyons, seamounts, and vast stretches of sediment, but not yet the smoking gun they were all hoping for. The search area was huge, and even with advanced tech, patience was paramount. Doubts would inevitably creep in during the long hours, but the team's resolve, fueled by Dr. Vance's unwavering conviction, held firm. Then, it happened. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic event, but a slow, emerging pattern on Seeker's sonar feed. A series of unusually straight lines intersecting at near-perfect right angles began to appear on the screen. These were not the jagged, chaotic lines of natural rock formations. These were organized, structured, almost deliberate. A hush fell over the control room. Could this be it? The area of interest was flagged, and the AUV was directed to make several more passes, each one adding more detail, more confirmation. The patterns were undeniably artificial, covering an area several square kilometers in size. It was time to send down the eyes. The ROV Titan, a workhorse capable of withstanding immense pressure, was prepped for its descent. This was the moment of truth. The massive vehicle, bristling with lights and cameras, was carefully lowered through the moon pool of the Odyssey, beginning its slow journey down into the blackness over 2 miles to the seabed. On the main screen in the control room, the team watched Titan's camera feed, the numbers indicating depth increasing steadily. The only light came from Titan's own powerful LEDs, cutting a swath through the inky water. Every scientist, every crew member held their breath, hearts pounding. As Titan approached the target coordinates, the sonar on the ROV itself began to pick up large structures ahead. Then, out of the gloom, shapes began to resolve. Not rocks, not natural formations, these were walls, cut stones, pavement, the unmistakable signs of a man-made structure, encrusted with millennia of marine growth but undeniably artificial. A collective gasp went through the control room, followed by stunned silence, then an eruption of cheers and tears. Dr. Vance simply wept. After all these years, after all the skepticism, here it was, Ethalgard, a lost city, 140,000 years old, revealed for the first time to human eyes. The journey had reached its most critical milestone. Section 5. Ethalgard unveiled, first sights of the sunken metropolis. The initial images relayed by ROV Titan were breathtaking, almost dreamlike. What emerged from the abyssal darkness was not just a few scattered ruins, but the clear layout of streets and buildings. The scale was astounding. As Titan, followed by the more agile Sprite, began to explore, they transmitted images of massive stone blocks, clearly shaped and fitted together with a precision that seemed impossible for such an ancient period. These weren't primitive mud huts, these were the foundations of a significant urban center. Streets, some remarkably wide, were paved with flat stones, still visible beneath layers of sediment and marine life. One of the first distinct areas the ROVs explored was what appeared to be a central plaza. Large, open, and surrounded by the remnants of imposing structures, it hinted at a place of public gathering or significant communal importance. The team could discern fallen pillars, some partially buried, others snapped, but still showing signs of carving. Even through the low-resolution feed of these initial explorations, the sense of grandeur was palpable. It was clear that Ethalgard was not a simple settlement, it was a city, planned and executed with a surprising level of sophistication. The mapping continued, revealing a complex network of thoroughfares and individual structures. Further exploration revealed what looked like residential blocks, with smaller, interconnected rooms. The outer walls of these buildings were thick, suggesting they were built to last, perhaps even to withstand environmental challenges. Intriguingly, there were no signs of widespread destruction from warfare. The city seemed to have been overcome by the sea, rather than by conflict. This observation opened up a whole new line of inquiry about its demise. The sheer preservation, despite 140,000 years underwater, was remarkable, thanks to the low oxygen levels and cold temperatures of the deep sea, which had slowed decay. Perhaps most astonishing in these early glimpses were hints of artistry. On some of the more sheltered stone surfaces where currents had kept sediment buildup to a minimum, the ROV cameras picked up faint but discernible carvings. These weren't just tool marks, they appeared to be deliberate patterns, perhaps even a form of proto-writing or symbolic representation. The idea that a civilization 140,000 years ago possessed such advanced cognitive abilities to create art and possibly symbols was revolutionary. Each new image, each sonar scan, added another layer to the emerging picture of Ethalgard, a city that was rapidly challenging long-held beliefs about our deep past. Section 6. Stone and Story. Architectural Marvels of a Lost Age. As the exploration of Ethalgard continued, day after painstaking day, the true architectural prowess of its builders became even more apparent. The ROVs meticulously documented structures that defied easy explanation given their immense age. We're talking about megalithic construction, folks. Some of the foundation stones observed were enormous, weighing many tons, reminiscent of later sites like Göbekli Tepe or Sacsayhuaman, but predating them by an almost unimaginable span of time. How did these ancient people, presumably with limited technology by our standards, quarry, transport, and place such massive blocks with such precision? It's a question that has engineers and archaeologists scratching their heads. The layout of the city itself speaks volumes about its inhabitants' understanding of urban planning. There's evidence of distinct zones, residential areas with smaller clustered dwellings, what appears to be a commercial or craft district with larger workshop-like structures, and ceremonial centers marked by grander buildings and open plazas. They even found evidence of what might be rudimentary water management systems, channels carved into the stone that could have directed fresh water or managed waste. This level of organization suggests a complex social structure. A society that could plan and execute large-scale civic projects for the common good. It's truly mind-boggling. One particularly fascinating discovery was a large circular structure located near the city center. Its purpose is still unknown, but its unique design sets it apart from the more rectilinear buildings. Some speculate it could have been an astronomical observatory, a council chamber, or a place of spiritual significance. The stonework here is exceptionally fine, with curved blocks fitting seamlessly together. Inside this structure, protected from the worst of the currents, the ROV cameras captured images of intricate carvings covering the inner walls, geometric patterns, swirling motifs, and what some believe could be representations of celestial bodies or marine life. These aren't just builders, these are artists. The materials used were primarily locally sourced stone, but there's evidence that some specific types of harder, more resilient rock were transported from considerable distances, indicating trade or extensive resource gathering. The tools they used remain a mystery, as organic materials like wood handles would have long since decayed. However, the precision cuts and smooth faces on many stones suggest they had developed sophisticated stoneworking techniques. Each block tells a story of effort, skill, and a deep understanding of materials. Ethalgard is not just a collection of ruins, it's a library of ancient knowledge, written in stone, waiting to be deciphered. Section 7. The Great Deluge. Why did Ethalgard sink? The biggest question hanging over Ethalgard, apart from who built it, is how did this obviously advanced city end up at the bottom of the ocean? This wasn't a gradual decline. The evidence suggests a relatively rapid inundation, preserving it so remarkably. The leading theory, supported by geological data of the period, points to catastrophic sea level rise triggered by a massive meltwater pulse event. Around 140,000 years ago, the Earth was experiencing fluctuations between glacial and interglacial periods. Ethalgard was likely built on a coastal plain that was significantly more exposed when vast amounts of water were locked up in continental ice sheets. Imagine a sudden, accelerated warming period. This could have caused colossal ice dams holding back glacial meltwater lakes to burst, or vast sections of ice sheets to collapse into the ocean. The result would have been a rapid, almost unstoppable rise in global sea levels, not over centuries, but potentially over decades, or even years. For a coastal city like Ethalgard, even one built with some foresight, such an event would have been an existential threat. The inhabitants would have seen the ocean creeping closer, day by day, year by year, until their homeland was no more. It's a terrifying thought, an entire civilization forced to abandon their magnificent creation to the encroaching waves. Another contributing factor, possibly working in conjunction with sea level rise, could have been localized land subsidence. The sheer weight of nearby ice sheets, even as they melted, can depress the Earth's crust, and as they retreat, the land can rebound. But this process isn't always uniform. It's possible the specific area where Ethalgard was built was geologically unstable or prone to sinking, exacerbating the effects of the rising waters. Some researchers are also investigating evidence of ancient tsunami deposits in the sediment layers around the city, suggesting a massive earthquake or underwater landslide could have delivered a final devastating blow, weakening coastal defenses or causing a sudden flood. It's unlikely we'll find a single simple answer. The demise of Ethalgard was probably a complex interplay of powerful natural forces. What is clear is that the people of Ethalgard faced an environmental catastrophe of epic proportions. Did they have warnings? Did they attempt to build seawalls or defenses? Were there survivors who carried the memory of their drowned world, leading to the fragmented myths Dr. Vance first investigated? These are the questions that drive the ongoing research. Understanding how Ethalgard was lost might even offer us lessons for our own vulnerable coastal cities in an era of climate change. Section 8. The People of the Tides Imagining Ethalgard's Inhabitants. So, who were these incredible people who built Ethalgard 140,000 years ago? This is perhaps the most profound mystery of all. This period is incredibly early for the kind of sophisticated urban living and monumental architecture we're seeing. Anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, were present in Africa, but their major migrations out of the continent were thought to be much later. Could Ethalgard have been built by an extremely early and surprisingly advanced wave of Homo sapiens who ventured into Europe far sooner than previously believed? Or are we looking at something even more revolutionary? One tantalizing possibility is that Ethalgard was the creation of a different hominin species. Neanderthals were well established in Europe during this period, and while often portrayed as primitive, recent discoveries have shown them to be much more capable than once thought. They used tools, fire, created art, and had complex social structures. Could a group of Neanderthals have achieved this unprecedented level of societal organization? Or perhaps Denisovans, those enigmatic cousins of Neanderthals, known primarily from fragmentary remains in Asia. Finding any skeletal remains within Ethalgard would be the archaeological equivalent of winning the lottery, potentially rewriting the human family tree. Based on the city's location and the carvings found, it's clear these people had a deep connection to the ocean. They were people of the tides. The sea was likely their primary source of food, their highway for trade or travel, and a powerful force in their spiritual beliefs. The marine motifs in their art suggest a reverence for the creatures of the deep. Their ability to build so close to the coast, and with such durable materials, implies a sophisticated understanding of tides, currents, and coastal engineering for their time. They were not just surviving the environment, they were mastering it, at least for a while. What was their daily life like? The layout of the city suggests a community with specialized roles: builders, artisans, planners, perhaps priests or leaders. The presence of public plazas indicates communal gatherings, markets, or ceremonies. Did they have a spoken language? Given the symbolic carvings, it's highly probable. Did they engage in trade with other yet undiscovered settlements? The presence of non-local stone suggests so. Every artifact, every structure is a clue, helping us piece together a portrait of this incredibly ancient and enigmatic civilization. A people who achieved so much, only to be erased from memory by the rising waters, until now. Before we dive into the legacy of Ethalgard, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video for more incredible discoveries. Section 9. A New Dawn for History. The Legacy of Ethalgard. The discovery of Ethalgard isn't just another interesting find, it's a paradigm shift. It fundamentally challenges our timeline of human civilization and technological development. For decades, the prevailing narrative was that complex societies, urbanism, and monumental architecture emerged relatively recently, in the last 10,000 to 12,000 years, with the advent of agriculture in places like Mesopotamia and Egypt. Ethalgard, at 140,000 years old, throws a colossal stone into that calm pond of accepted history. It suggests that the capacity for complex societal organization and sophisticated building emerged far, far earlier in the human story than anyone dreamed. This find forces us to ask, what else are we missing? If a city like Ethalgard could exist so long ago and be lost to the sea, how many other similar sites are out there, submerged and forgotten, holding keys to our deep past? The world's coastlines have changed dramatically over the eons due to ice ages and interglacial periods. Vast areas that were once dry land, prime real estate for ancient peoples, are now deep underwater. Ethalgard proves that these submerged landscapes are not barren wastelands, but potential treasure troves of archaeological information. It will undoubtedly spur a new wave of underwater exploration, targeting these ancient drowned coastlines. Furthermore, Ethalgard compels us to reconsider the capabilities of early hominins, whether they were early Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans, or even an unknown group. It shows that the spark of ingenuity, the drive to build, to create, to organize on a large scale, might be a much older trait in our lineage. It pushes back the dawn of what we might call behavioral modernity by tens of thousands of years. The implications for understanding human cognitive evolution are immense. This wasn't just a fluke. Ethalgard represents a sustained, complex effort by a large population. The legacy of Ethalgard is just beginning to unfold. The painstaking work of excavating, analyzing, and interpreting the site will take decades, generations even. But already it has opened a new frontier in our quest to understand who we are and where we come from. It reminds us that history is not a closed book, but a dynamic, ever-evolving story, with new chapters and sometimes entirely new volumes, waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places. Ethalgard is a profound reminder of the depth of human history, the resilience of our ancestors, and the incredible secrets that still lie hidden, waiting for us to find them. The adventure truly continues.